is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
Welcome to Wheel of Cage, episode 2. I'm Rob, this is Phil. We got Reardon in the fact-checking booth. We've already spun the wheel. We'll clip that in right here.
Okay, let's run.
Gone in 60 seconds.
This is the show where we review every single Nicolas Cage film, depending on whatever the wheel rolls. Phil, what happens in Gone in 60 Seconds? Spoiler free.
Okay, the spoiler-free recap is Kip Raines, played by Giovanni Ribisi, is hired by a British criminal of some sort to steal 50 cars for $200,000. And Ribisi, being Ribisi, screws it up. So his brother Memphis Raines has to come back to town in order to fulfill the job of stealing 50 cars, and he's got 72 hours to do it. And so he gathers his old group of, I guess, car thieves. These are the protagonists, mind you. So he gathers up the car thieves, and they go after 50 cars in 72 hours. That's the plot line. 72 hours to do it, to get it to a British... I don't even know what the guy's business is, because he owns like a junkyard.
Seems like he's doing pretty well.
He looks like he's got some like legitimate things, but also we find out that he's under investigation for murder, and the cops apparently already know that he's a murderer. It's don't worry about the British guy. He also is into wood. Like, that's his characterization. He likes wood.
I'm proud of these. Straddle chair from the arts and craft period. Mahogany table with cloud lift pattern. Black walnut wine table. Metal's cold, ugly. Wood's warm, clean. Provided by nature. See a piece of furniture take shape, it's like watching a child grow.
And he's like really obsessed with wood, but it's only in one scene that is the case.
I think that's good. I said spoiler free, but I don't think there's any spoilers in this movie. You know exactly what, were you surprised by anything?
I guess there is one twist. At the very end, Nicolas Cage saves the cop's life, so he lets him go.
Yeah, we'll get the spoilers later. But,
which makes no sense, by the way, but we'll get to that later.
There's no spoilers. You can't spoil this movie for someone.
Walking in, you knew he was going to get all 50 cars.
49 and a half.
I said 50 cars, not 49 and a half.
49 and a half, she's not so bad, man. She's got, what? Some paint and, some fiberglass. Yes, indeedy.
So our next section, Nicolas Cage has done a lot of movies. He's not always the main character of the film. We'll get into that depending on what the wheel gives us.
He also he doesn't have to be the main character to be a Nicolas Cage film, though. I don't think he has to be the main character to be there are some great Nicolas Cage films where he's not the main character.
Yeah, we'll see when we get to that point.
But
is this a Nicolas Cage film, though?
For sure. In the opening, it says Nick Cage, Gone in 60 Seconds. He is top billed. He's the only one really billed. And he is also his character is the only character with really any real characterization. The only one in the whole movie. So, and I didn't time it. I kind of wish I did. But once he's introduced, he's probably in 90% of the scenes. You have a few scenes with the cops, and you have a few scenes with some of the crew for chuckles. They're just, I guess, comedic relief.
Chuckleheads.
So, but it's pretty much all Nicolas Cage. He's the main character. There's one female in the movie, and she's his love interest, although at the end of the movie, she's sucking on some guy's finger, so I have no idea what the hell that's about, but yeah.
Poor Toby, man. Sure looks like he's in a lot of pain.
If that's pain, you can shoot me anytime. Yeah. Sexy.
Let's review the movie. Again, I think I mentioned this earlier. Watch this all the time as a kid. I really love this movie. Was really excited to see it. What did you think of rewatching Gone in 60 Seconds?
It's horrible. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. I loved it as a kid, but I'm not even sure if I really did love it as a kid. I think I wanted to love it as a kid because you got smashed him up car crashes and Nicolas Cage, and it's shot in that late 90s, early 2000s, like, you know, Swordfish, Suicide Kings, Boondock Saints style of fast cuts constantly, so it feels like every scene's got more action. This one's highly stylized. It's done by Dominic Sena, who was a music video director, and it feels like you're watching a series of music videos. Like, that's how he directed this. So it's very, very much a product of its time. But all the stylization, all the jump cuts, fast scenes, even all the cool cars and some getting crushed or smashed, it doesn't make up for, I don't know who half the characters in this movie are, what their motivations are. I mean, there's a simple, like, I'm in, you son of a bitch scene where
Hey, Truckula! You son of a bitch! I'm in!
Nicolas Cage is calling up all of his old gang to go steal cars. He just calls them up. Like, he does, like, he goes to one of the people. Like, so there's not even like a high five and like they're like, I'm in, you son of a bitch, you pull me in. Like,
That's the Rick and Morty. You
Yeah.
son of a bitch, I'm in.
yeah, there isn't even that. He just like calls up a guy and he's like, hey, you want to steal cars? And then there's a racist scene with the principal from Boston Public and some Asian girl driving.
It's fine because it's a black guy, but yeah, it's
No, it's
pretty
not fun.
horrific racist.
It's still racism, and I thought we were going to get a running gag throughout the movie, like this Asian.
She appears twice.
She appears
and then
twice
just disappears.
and then disappears.
I think in this day and age, you would see that Asian woman pop up like 3 or 4 more times.
At least in the final car crash scene,
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be a payoff where she's like driving great, like gets road
Yeah.
rage at Nicolas Cage and is actually like keeping up with him or something like that. There's no payoff to anything.
That's failing.
No, why?
None of the characters have any characterization. And you've got 2 of my favorite actors in Giovanni Ribisi and Nicolas Cage. Like, they're phenomenal actors. And neither one are given anything to work with. And the worst of all is Angelina Jolie's character, Sway, who makes no sense in the entire movie. Like, first of all, she's got the craziest hairstyle I've ever seen.
I read somewhere that she won like worst hairstyle.
It makes no sense. It's
No. Sorry, she lost. She got second to John Travolta from Battlefield Earth, and he's playing the alien, and she's not too far off from John Travolta in Battlefield Earth.
It's ridiculous. So, but she's very young. I think she's like 25 when this was made, and again, she's like talking like she's an old lady. Even in the bar scene, I think a guy calls her ma'am and stuff like that, and it's like, but she's like 24 or 25. And just like the dialogue that they gave her is like really weird, and we don't know the backstory between her. What do you want to say, Reardon?
They said that he disappeared like 6 years ago. So like he was dating her, and they were like things were going on, and they were like part of a team 6 years ago. So like was she like 15 when like
That's what I was very confused
Yeah.
about. And she kind of acts like a nymphomaniac. Like, she meets him, she's like, you want to go in the back and we tear off the hood and give it a paint job or something? I don't know.
Want to get a little crazy? There's a Cutlass 442 in the back. We can strip down and shine the hood. What do you say?
Reminded me of Ocean's 11, probably a little bit of Fast and the Furious, but this is pre-Fast and the Furious.
It's pre-Ocean's 11.
Pre-Ocean's 11. Everyone in Ocean's 11 had a role.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, this is the electronics guy. This is the gymnast. You know, this is the mastermind. And I feel like they started doing this in this movie, and then they just abandoned all of it.
100%. They're like, he's a computer wizard, and then never does anything. But also, the younger, like, rapper guy, he was also an electronics expert. So you have the electronics expert, and the computer wizard, none of their skills ever come into play. I mean, I think the computer wizard does something, but I don't even know. Do you remember?
The keys he has, like he has like some kind of like fancy electronic key system that like he'll put it in, and there's like a screen and like numbers flash. And he's like, yeah, like it unlocks the door.
Yeah,
or like,
like something happens, but it's so quick. And you're right. I don't know what Kai McBride's skill is. I don't know what Robert Duvall's skill is. He's like, you're my number 2, and then he just sits there.
Baby, don't be so mean. Yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, you break it, you buy it, my friend.
Yeah, she got.
The movie is terrible. It is absolutely horrendous. But there is like some shining moments, and you see it in every 90s Nick Cage movie, is whenever he can play a character who is acting, that's when you see the future of Nick Cage. The overacting and the insanity. There's one scene of brilliant Nick Cage, and that's when he is buying a Ferrari at a Ferrari dealership and pretending to be a wealthy yuppie who just moved to San Francisco. And he's like, I'm on no one's A-list, and all this stuff. It's brilliant, and he's chewing on the rims of his glasses.
I don't know if it's brilliant, but it is future Cage.
It's what's going to come.
Yeah.
That's funny. My name's Roger. 2 Rogers don't make a right. Roger, I have a problem.
Yes.
I've been in LA for 3 months now. I have money, I have taste. But I'm not on anybody's A-list, and Saturday night is the loneliest night of the week for me.
Well, a Ferrari would certainly change that.
Perhaps.
You have a car theft movie where they steal 50 cars, and none of the thefts are clever. There's no cleverness to any of the car thieves. Like, and I thought it was going to be kind of juxtaposed with Giovanni Ribisi's character at the beginning, who's like, I need my tool, and his tool's a brick. Mm-hmm. And he throws the brick through the window and just steals the car. I thought it was going to be juxtaposed, like, oh, look, Giovanni Ribisi's kind of a screw-up who's just pretending at doing this stuff. Here's the really clever Nicolas Cage. There's no clever car theft. I guess...
You know what it is? It's National Treasure. You have Nicolas Cage, like the master thief, adventurer, versus Sean Bean, who does everything brute force.
Exactly.
And so you have... I see your point. You have Giovanni Ribisi, brute force, and then it's like, okay, well, how does Cage going to steal Eleanor? He just walks up and puts the key in and drives away. There's nothing. Vinnie Jones rams a cop off a ramp.
Yeah,
and just drives away. Like, there is nothing clever about any of the car thefts.
Nothing. There is one scene where they steal a car by pretending to be the valets.
Yeah.
Also, the police impound the guy puts on like a pin disguise.
No, that's my
very brilliant.
It's my favorite part. She's a brick.
Okay.
Back here. No, hey, I tell you what, look at this. Look at it. She's a brick.
When your clever scene is having a guy pretend to be a crackheaded pimp and go up with a doll and saying she's a brick house.
That's like his plan C too. Like, he's distracting him, and the guy's like, "Oh, what's this?" He's like, "Wait a minute, check this out." He pulls out the doll.
It's absolutely horrible, but
that's the best part of the movie.
But
she's a brick.
Again, terrible movie, absolutely horrible. There is something there. I blame the director for most of it because he pulls nothing out. Probably needed a script rewrite, but knowing that the screenwriter wrote movies like Con Air, where every character seemed to have a little bit of a backstory. You know, you knew a little something about something, like, oh, that's Cyrus the Virus, he bad. Like,
his name is Cyrus Grissom, a.k.a. Cyrus the Virus. 39 years old, 25 of them spent in our institutions. But he's bettered himself inside, earned 2 degrees, including his Juris Doctor. He also killed 11 fellow inmates, incited 3 riots, and escaped twice. Likes to brag that he killed more men than cancer.
Okay, open wide.
It actually, it's a terrible movie, but I wouldn't be opposed to if it was on while I was doing work or on while I was reading something. It wouldn't bother me because you can just look up and you can follow along.
I think the critic score was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
25%. Audience score was like 75, 8. People love this movie. And I wonder if it is the nostalgia element. I wonder if it is just old reviews, because I don't know. There's really nothing to it.
You're going to argue with me over 12 minutes? I just saw 50 cars for you in one night. All right, I'm a little tired, a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.
Let's rate it. I think we're going to do an out of 5 rating system. So if we could retcon 8mm, we talked about this. We kind of agreed on 3 out of 5. You said a high 2 out of 5, like 2.8 out of 5. I don't know. So that's like our base, just loose ranking. What would you rate this movie out of 5? How many cages? How many cages out of cages would you rate this, Phil?
Like 2 or 1.8.
It's not a 1.
I mean, I think it's tough because, especially if you said the standard of 8mm is this is a worse film than 8mm.
Easily worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, I never would have guessed it. When we spun the wheel and we got Gone in 60 Seconds, I was so excited because I was like, man, this is going to be on the top 10 forever. And then halfway through, I think I turned to you and said, this is a worse movie than 8mm.
Yeah.
I think it's more enjoyable. I think I think more people are going to like Gone in 60 Seconds than 8mm. We'll put the rankings up. 8mm number 1. Gone in 60 number 2. Mary, we all gave ratings. What was your rating for the film out of 5?
2.8.
Do you think it's better or worse than 8mm?
About the same.
About the same. I think it's close, but I think 8mm is better.
This movie made me look at 8mm in an entirely different way.
I told you 8mm was going to rise.
Clockwise or clockwise?
I go that way, the way you're going.
Ow! I think I'm bleeding.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
We're
Moment of truth.
We're leaving that in.
Moment of truth.
Can you get that to go or no?
I can do.
Oh, what's it gonna be?
8mm. Oh shit. The mutiny of.
Oh no, the Humanity Burrow.